So this year is the 40th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, and with such a long run of a franchise, there are bound to be many characters throughout. And because of this, I thought it would be fun to do a little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles character tier list. So I have gathered characters from all across the franchise, both in movies, TV shows, and the comics. Something important to note is I did create this tier list, so if you want to follow along, you can find it linked in the description, or if you're watching this on TikTok or another platform, it will be linked in my link tree. But something else I will note is I did include some of the Mirage and Archie characters, but because I've just barely started reading Mirage and I haven't read Archie, I do not have probably as many as this list should have, and I personally will not be ranking them today, so just keep that in mind. A quick breakdown on how I am going to approach each of the tiers that I have created for this. I have seven different tiers. The bottom is for characters that I hate, the D tier is for characters that I just dislike. The C tier is the neutral tier, and this is either characters that I think are kind of boring or just like sort of exist and don't contribute much, or the things that I do enjoy about them are outweighed by some really negative aspects. There are a few specific characters that I will talk about that relate to that category. B tier is for very solid, good characters that I really like. Generally, this will be characters that I think are a staple or a solid, foundation of what that character is. A tier is for the characters that I just love. I think they're phenomenal. S tier is similar, but like just another level of I absolutely adore this character. And S plus is a very special tier reserved for those characters that just have such a special place in my heart and are unrivaled as just one of the characters I absolutely adore more than anything. So with that, let's get into it. First we have Leo from the 1987 animated series, who I'm gonna put, honestly, do I put him in A or S tier? He's fantastic. I absolutely love 87 Leo because he's perfect for the 87 universe, even if he is a bit goofy at times. I really love how they highlight his dorkiness, especially in the episodes, the Four Musketurtles and, oh my god, what's it called? Elementary, My Dear Turtle. Those two episodes are great. I'm gonna put him in A tier. He's great. I love 87 Leo, but there are other versions of Leo that I think are just a little bit better. Next we have 90s Leo. Honestly, I might put him in B tier. Like, he's good. He's a good, solid depiction of Leo, but he doesn't stand out to me. He serves his role in the films and is good. I like him, but I don't think he stands out particularly. Next mutation Leo. He is so annoying. He's basically, they took the most negative aspects of what typically makes up Leo in different iterations, and that's like his entire personality. So he's really annoying. I don't quite hate him because he's mostly just boring, but he's annoying. Next we have 2003 Leo, who is our first S tier for today. He's fantastic. I love how they highlight his anger issues in Season 4. That's one of the things that I just absolutely adore seeing highlighted for Leo. It's the anger issues and the dorkiness are the two that I love to see highlighted, and 2003 is very big on the anger issues thing. He's great. I love 2003 Leo. He's a very solid, like, standard for Leo, I feel. Next we have 2007 Leo. I don't dislike him. He's annoying sometimes, but he's not quite, I don't quite dislike him. For the most part, I think in the 2007 film, he is somewhat justified for, his stance and conflict with Raph, especially because, Splinter is the one that sent him on the retreat. It's not like he was like, I'm leaving because I just feel like leaving. He had a specific reason to do so. But otherwise, like he's kind of just there, and also he has the one line where he says he's better than Raph, which is, like, annoying, but I don't dislike him. He just sort of exists for me. IDW Leo is S tier. He very much reminds me of 2003 Leo, but I think they do actually a better job with him because some of 2003 Leo's writing can be a bit clunky in the sense that, like, the shift from Season 3 to Season 4 is just a little bit janky. It's not super coherent, even though I do really enjoy it. I think it could have been done a bit more seamlessly, but IDW Leo I think is a phenomenal interpretation of Leo, and I think is like a standard interpretation of Leo, but done extremely well, if that makes sense. And I think 2012 Leo is gonna be our first S+. I absolutely adore adore 2012 Leo. 2012 Leo is my favorite version of Leo. They do such a phenomenal job of highlighting his dorkiness, especially with space heroes. It's fantastic. And they do, although it's not to the same extent of 2003, there are a little bit of anger issues explored with 2012 Leo, and it's great. I think he is a phenomenal character. The only issue I have with him is the stuff with Karai, but that's mostly the writer's fault. That's not specifically Leo's personality and stuff, so absolutely adore 2012 Leo. Easy, high up there on the list, and our first S+ for today. Next up is Bay vs. Leo. Right next to Next Mutation Leo. If it was just the first film, he would be C, because he's so boring in the first film and doesn't stand out to me at all, but he is so goddamn annoying in not Secret of the Use, Out of the Shadows. He's annoying. I, again, don't quite hate him, but he is awful. Anyway, moving on to Rise Leo. Very mixed feelings about him. I think I'm gonna put him A or high B. He's A or B because it took me a very, very long time to warm up to Rise Leo because he was kind of obnoxious. Season 2, I did really start enjoying him. He was annoying at the start of the movie, but that was for the journey of the movie, and I did enjoy him by the end. I do really love, I'm gonna put him in A tier. I do love Rise Leo. I prefer the typical characterization of him, which is interesting because Rise Leo was my introduction to Leo as a character, but even then, like, I still prefer the typical characterization, and I think Rise Leo is very fun, but he is not my favorite version of Leo. Then we have, Batman vs. Leo, S tier. God, the Batman vs. Turtles are so good, and I'm gonna gush about more of them later, but Batman vs. Leo very explicitly highlights his anger issues, and it's done really well. God, I love that movie. In case you haven't gathered, that is my favorite of the TMNT films. I absolutely adore it, and yeah, he's S tier easily. Mutant Mayhem Leo, as with most of the Turtles, which I will talk about more with some of the other ones, they did not get the opportunity to shine individually. They were very much, they were focused on as a group in the film, which worked really well, and I did really enjoy their dynamic, but when you took them, like, they didn't have time individually, and so it was hard to kind of connect to them on an individual level. Because of this, I am putting Leo in A because I think he had the most focus individually, and I did really love his characterization. I could see him moving up to S depending on how he's portrayed in Tales of the TMNT, but we'll see when that series comes out. I believe this summer is when it's coming out, which will be exciting, but yeah, I do love Mutant Mayhem Leo, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him and the other Turtles in the series. We're moving on to Raphael. First we have 87 Raph, A tier. I'm gonna put him right next to, I think I'm gonna group these by the specific iteration, so I'll put all like the 87 characters and all the Rise characters, etc. together. Anyway, 87 Raph, he's not like other Raphs. He's not angry. He's like basically the only version of Raph that doesn't have anger issues. And he's very fun, he's goofy, he's Rob Paulson. Rob Paulson absolutely slays with him. He's great, I love him. I was like, who is this? This is 1990s films. Put him above Leo. Yeah, I'm gonna put him here. Here, let me put this in order. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna put him above Leo because he had more focus in the 1990 film. And so TMNT 3, kind of a hot mess of a movie, but my favorite part of it is absolutely the relationship that Raph has with Yoshi, the kid from feudal Japan. It is so cute. I love when Raph gets to be like a dad, and that comes up for some of the other characters, especially 2012 Raph. And I just, it's great. That's like the highlight of TMNT 3 for me is Raph. Next Mutation Raph, he exists. I don't have strong opinions about him. He's fine. He does get kind of annoying with the conflict with Leo, but he's not as annoying as Leo to me, so. Next you have 2003. Love 2003 Raph. His voice is just so good. Like, logically, it doesn't make sense why he would have an accent and none of the other turtles would, but it's just so good, and I think they take that from the 90s films too, and it's so fun. I love him. The episode where he hangs out with the old lady named Mrs. M, and, you know, they have tea, and he just gets along with her cat. It's so cute. I love 2003 Raph, and he's sassy and he's phenomenal. I love him. 2007 Raph, easily the best of the 2007 characters. B or A tier? Because generally the 2007 turtle characters are just sort of there. But I think I'm going to put him in A tier, because I do love him. He's definitely the best of the 2007 characters, because he stands out the most and has the most focus. And the fight with Leo is just so good. Yeah, I'm going to put him in A tier. We have our next S+. Right now it's just 2012 characters, but I love 2012 Raph so much. When I started the series, I thought I was going to hate him based on the first couple of episodes, because he is really annoying in the first couple of episodes, and especially is very mean to Mikey. But as the series progresses, he is explored in such a fun way. I love the way he's, a dad to Spike and Chompy. It's so cute. He and Mona Lisa are adorable. I love 2012 Raph. He's easily my favorite version of Raph, and is my second favorite of any of the turtles. Like, I just love him so much. Then we have IDW Raph. Ooh, IDW Raph. I really liked him at the start, and now he's getting on my nerves where he stands currently. So he might be in C tier, which I hate to do to him, because I did really like him, but he's getting on my nerves. He's getting annoying to me currently in IDW, so he's in C tier. I'm sorry for any IDW Raph stans. Next, we have Beaver's Raph. I'm putting him in S tier. Beaver's Raph is slept on, okay? Not enough people talk about him. He is genuinely like a standard depiction of Raph for me. He is phenomenal. I just adore his characterization, especially showing his vulnerability, and he is very emotional. Like, something with Raph is it's not just that he has anger issues, he's very emotional, and he cares very deeply about his family, and that is something that is absolutely highlighted in the Beavers films, and I absolutely adore him. He's great. Next we have Rise Raph, who is also, I'm gonna put in S tier. Very different from the typical characterization of Raph. And I do generally prefer the typical characterization of Raph, but I just have so much love in my heart for Rise Raph, for just how wholesome he is and how he's kind of a dumbass, but like in an endearing way, and he's adorable. I do wish they highlighted his anger issues more, because there's definitely a foundation there, and I think if the series continued, especially with Leo being the leader, we could have seen that explored more. When Raph is no longer carrying the burden of being the leader of the team, we could have seen him, no longer bottle up his emotions and stuff, and I think that would have made him even more enjoyable and more like the typical Raph characterization, but I still have such a special place in my heart for that version of Raph. He's great. Next we have Batman versus Raph. I'm gonna put him in A tier. Maybe B. Because he's a really, really good interpretation of Raph, but he doesn't stand out quite as much as some of the other ones. Like the B tier is I like them, and I think they're like a very solid foundation. And I think that's exactly what Batman vs. Raph is. He's really great. I do enjoy his speech that he gives to Batman, even though that scene pisses me off for existing and making the pacing kind of weird, and being somewhat unnecessary. But, yeah, really, really enjoy him. He's great. Mutant Mayhem Raph is, again, Mutant Mayhem Turtles, I think, need more, development. I think I am gonna put him in A, though. I do love his chaos. He's very fun. I might actually move him to B. Because I think he has a solid foundation, but I haven't seen enough of him, I think, highlighted for me to really be like, I love this version of Raph, especially compared to other ones. But he is very good, and I think he has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see him explored. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Next is Donatello, who is the one I relate to personally the most. First of all, 87 Donnie, S tier. No fucking question. He is phenomenal. He's adorable, he's hilarious, he's just all around fantastic. He has theater kid energy, which is something I really enjoy seeing for Donnie, and is present in some of the other versions of him. I love him so much. He's great. Next we have 90s Donnie. He and Mikey, I love their dynamic in the 90s films. I'm gonna put him in A tier, because he's one of the best versions of Donnie. Not my favorite version of Donnie, but he's really great, and unlike some of the other 90s Turtles, they have moments where it's like, I do really like them, but then they kind of bother me in other ways, but I love 90s Donnie. He's great. Next Mutation Donnie, honestly, I do really, really enjoy Next Mutation Donnie. He's a pretty solid depiction of Donnie. I'm gonna put him in B tier, because I like him. He does have moments where he can be a bit annoying in Next Mutation, like, the general characters aren't phenomenal, other than Venus. I love her, which I'll get to. But yeah, he's a pretty solid depiction of Donnie. I do really like him. Next we have 2003 Dawn, who, S tier? S tier. Yeah, S tier. I think he's phenomenal. Let me put him next to, put him in order. Yeah, this order isn't like best to worst. I'm just grouping them based how they're organized because it's nice for my brain. Anyway, so, 2003 Dawn, that poor boy has been through so much in this series. I think he's one of the most traumatized of the turtles, and they like don't address a lot of the trauma that he's gathered from this series. But he's great. He's sassy. He's one of the standards, I think, of Donatello as a character, and I really enjoy him. 2007 Donnie, neutral. Yeah, he's fine. He exists. Like, I'll mention this with Mikey too. Like, he and Mikey are very much like background characters. The only times they're really highlighted are like at the very start of the film, when like we're like, oh, where are all the turtles now that Leo's, you know, in the jungle or whatever. And like Don, other than the IT scene, he just sort of exists. So I hope you like this picture I picked for IDW Donnie. I'm putting him in S tier next to, what order is this? IDW Don has also been through so much shit. But I love his characterization. I love how they explore, you know, him having existential crises and stuff for a number of reasons. And also, you know, his journey with coming to terms with the reincarnation stuff, coming to understand, you know, more mystic kind of spiritual things that he struggles with, and that journey, and especially his relationship with Venus, I think is really interesting. Next we have 2012 Dawn, who I have mixed feelings about for reasons. 2007, 2012, there you go. I'm putting him in A tier because I do love him. And a lot of, like, he has a lot of traits that I do really enjoy. I enjoy how chaotic he is. He's, you know, super dorky and, like, has, you know, that passion, that geeky passion about, like, science and stuff, which is really adorable. I will mention this for both April and Casey, but what easily brings out the worst aspects of his character are the love triangle mess, because all three of them are kind of problematic in that situation, and because of that, it makes them less enjoyable. But beyond that, I think, like, 2012 Nani is a great version of the character. Baver's Dawn is also A tier. Yeah, I'm gonna also put him in A tier. I love him. He's a great characterization of Donnie. He doesn't stand out to me as much as some of the other versions, but he still stands out as a very, very solid interpretation of the character, and I do love him. Now, Rise Donnie is going in S+. He is the reason that I got into this franchise. I've talked about this many times before, but the reason I got into TMNT is because I was seeing a lot of videos about Rise of the TMNT on TikTok, usually like compilations, but especially compilations of Rise Donnie, and I was like, I love this character so much, I need to watch this show, and I immediately fell in love with the show, and like seeing people, especially talking about 2012 and Rise, and I was like, okay, I'll check out 2012, and then eventually that started the ball rolling for me to check out the entire franchise. And, you know, Rise Donnie, because of that, is just so special to me, especially because I find him super relatable, and I love how chaotic he is. Of the Rise Turtles, I think he's the one that is most similar to the typical characterization that we see for the Turtles, and I think it works well. I absolutely adore him. We got two more for Donnie. We have Batman vs. Donnie, who is S tier. I absolutely adore him. He is very similar to Rise Donnie, but more tame. He's kind of like 2003 Donnie, but less traumatized. Is the best way I can explain it. I don't know. I think he's great. He's adorable. He's a dork. He's sassy. He's fantastic. He is very similar to 2003 Donnie. And then finally we have Mutant Mayhem. Honestly, I'm gonna put him in neutral. Like, Mutant Mayhem Donnie is fine. And I don't want to discredit his love of K-pop and anime as being a part of his personality, because, like, if it's very important to him, it might be, like, something that really makes up, like, you know, who he is. But I wish they explored more of it, and you don't really get the sense that he's super techie. Which, like, is portrayed through his design, but it's not really something that's explored in the film, and I think that would have made him more interesting. He does have some of the Donatello sass, but he does not particularly stand out to me in that regard. So yeah, that does it for Donnie. All right, moving on to Michelangelo. First we have 1987 Mikey, and he's going next to all the other 87 turtles except for Donnie, because Donnie is built different. I do love him as well. He was kind of boring to me when I started watching the show, but then as it progressed, he's adorable, he's silly. I actually might move him to S tier, because he's such a good version of Mikey. Usually you don't see the like surfer dude personality fully embraced by other versions, but I think it's super fun for TMNT 87, and I think it works super well for the universe. Next we have 1990 Mikey. Yeah, I'm gonna put him next to Donnie, because their dynamic together is a big reason why I like both of them a lot. He really irritated me in TMNT 3 when he was like, I'm gonna stay for some reason. I don't know. It came out of nowhere and made no sense. So I don't know why he did that, but go off, I guess. Then we have Next Mutation Mikey. I do also really enjoy him. I'm gonna put him next to Donnie. He can be a bit like obnoxious and annoying, especially in like episode 2 with Venus. He's really annoying, but other than that, like, he's fine. He's fun. He has his moments that are adorable, and I think he's a fun character. Next we have our next S+ character, and my favorite turtle across the entire franchise, 2003 Mikey. I adore 2003 Mikey with all of my being. He's adorable. He's iconic. He has a lot of very fun, goofy moments. There are points where he can be a bit annoying, but I think that's outweighed by just how much love I have in my heart for him as a character. And he also is just like a very queer-coded character. And I love me some queer characters, as I myself am a queer individual. So seeing that in Mikey is very exciting for me, so I adore him. Next we have 2007 Mikey, is the pinnacle of the C tier. He is so boring to me, but I have nothing against him. He just exists. Like, he's fine. He can be, there are a couple moments where he's annoying, but not enough for me to dislike him, so. IDW Mikey, S tier. I absolutely adore his arc with Splinter in the Michelangelo Macro series with all the orphans, because he stands up to Splinter and stands up for what he believes in, and I think that is incredible. I love that for Mikey. He's also just your typical, like, good Mikey characterization where he's goofy and in there for a good time, and I think he's great. 2012 Mikey, also S tier. I'm trying to think right after it. Yeah, he's great. I love 2012 Mikey. He's adorable. It does bother, my biggest issue with him is the way they're, like, constantly, like, making fun of him for being stupid and being like, oh, Mikey, you're so dumb. And, like, especially in the first couple episodes, which is why I thought I was going to hate the series, and Raph especially, is because it's, like, sometimes that is what his entire personality gets boiled down to, but that's not really an issue with Mikey itself, and more, like, the other characters and the general writing for the show. But yeah, he's great. I adore him. Now, Baber's Mikey, if it was just the first film, he'd be down here. But I did really enjoy him in Out of the Shadows, and they toned down the Megan Fox obsession a lot. So he's actually, I do like him, actually. I do enjoy Baber's Mikey, even if the stuff that I do not enjoy is really, actually I might move him down to neutral. I don't know, it's hard, because I do really like him in Out of the Shadows, but he is very obnoxious in the first, I'm gonna move him down to C tier, because, yeah, he is so annoying in the first film. If you have not watched the Babers films, the second one is absolutely better than the first one, and that is one of the reasons. There are more, but, yeah. Next we have Rise Mikey. I'm gonna put him in A tier. Yeah, he's a great version of Mikey. I do love how they highlight his creative side, which is something we don't really see super highlighted for a bunch of different, a lot of the other versions of Mikey, so it's nice to see that highlighted. I do wish they kind of leaned into his, well, actually, no, they do lean into his silly, goofy side, but that's something that kind of all the Rise Turtles have associated with them. But yeah, I do adore him. I do like other versions of Mikey more, but he's a great version. I love him. Next we have objectively the best version of Mikey. Not my favorite, because 2003 Mikey has a special place in my, I might put him in S+ as well, actually. Which feels like cheating to put two Mikeys in S+. But he's just so good. He is genuinely, like I said, I believe he is the objectively best depiction of Mikey because he embodies the typical characterization of Michelangelo, like, perfectly. He has fun moments, he has adorable moments. I love his, the way he interacts with Alfred especially. It's so good. I love him so much. See, the only reason Mutant Mayhem Mikey isn't in D tier is because I have no reason to dislike him, but he is so boring. Like, his entire personality is basically that he's nice and, like, improv. There's basically nothing else to him. At least as how he's portrayed in the film. I think, like, with the series it might be explored more, but he's just so boring to me. I get why people like him, because he's meant to be a likable character, but he's likable in the most boring way possible, so he's C tier for me. Next we have the last Ronin. Yes. I'll put him in A or S tier, because I love it. I'm gonna put him in A tier. I do love Last Ronin. Seeing his journey, especially in Lost Years. Lost Years was really enjoyable to read, to kind of see, like, leading up to the events of the original Last Ronin. Very, very enjoyable to see that journey and see what he's struggling with in that journey. And I love a good depressing story, so I do adore Last Ronin. It's fantastic. Moving along into the other turtles, these are miscellaneous turtles that, you know, aren't the main four but show up in some of the iterations. So first we have Jennika, who's going S+. I love her. I adore her so much. She's so freaking cool. Her journey is really interesting from when she's introduced to where she is now. It's really a fun journey, and, like, you know, she's badass. I love her. I adore Jennika so much. She's such a cool character. Next we have Lita. I specifically took a picture from the band arc. I don't remember what it's called, but where she's time traveling, because, like, when she's a kid, she's cute but doesn't stand out as much, so I think having her be, you know, a time girly also makes her more enjoyable for me, because, you know, I love Renet so much, and she reminds me of Renet, but I'm gonna put her in B tier because she doesn't stand out super much to me, but she's great. I love Lita. She's fun. I said I do love her. So does she go in A? See, this is the struggle, right? Now I'm gonna keep her in B, because, yeah, most of the time she's in the series in IDW is when she's a kid, and I generally am not a fan of kid characters, not because they're fine. She's cute, but, you know, it doesn't stand out. 87 Slash, I don't care about. He exists. You know, like, he's fine. I don't like, I'm generally not a fan of, like, haha, he's dumb characters, and except for even in the episode where he's, like, made smart, he exists. He's fine. I don't have opinions. IDW Slash, on the other hand, is an absolute gem. I adore IDW Slash. He's adorable. He's great. Made me cry. And just, I love IDW Slash. 2012 Slash, I don't really care about. He exists, so he goes in this tier. Don't have strong opinions about him. Like, he's fine. Venus de Milo. Ooh, I want to put, like, my heart wants to put her in S tier, but she's not that great of a character. Like, the way she's written, because, again, it's Next Mutation. I do really like Next Mutation because of how unhinged it is, but I gotta be reasonable, so I'm gonna put her in A tier. I love Venus. She's easily the best part of Next Mutation, and genuinely is such a win for the franchise. Speaking of Venus, we have Venus from IDW, who's I'm putting right next to her because she's so cool. I think it's a really unique interpretation of a turtle character, and it's really interesting how she came to be. She doesn't really feel like Venus from Next Mutation. They're very different, but they have similar, you know, elements to them, and I like the ways in which they're different. So they're both really good characters to me. Next we have the last Ronin turtles, who I do not really have strong opinions about. Uno annoyed me. I will say Uno did annoy me. I don't really want to put them in dislike. I also don't remember which ones are the girls, which is my bad. Uno annoyed me. I did really like Yi. I'm gonna put Yi in A tier. Moja was fine. Moja existed. I did also love Odin. Yeah, those I don't have strong opinions. Super strong opinions about the last Ronin Turtles, especially because most of the time we see them as kids, and like the baby talk annoyed me because baby talk annoys me in general. But yeah, they were fine. Next we have April. I love 87 April so much. She's going in S tier. She's great. Is she a good reporter? Not at all. Nope. She does not do her job well. But she's a big sister to the turtles. Even like when they become young, when they get turned into toddlers, they refer to her as Auntie April, which is so cute. And I love her so much. Also, she's a lesbian. I don't care what you say. She and Irma are literally in love. It's just facts. I don't make the rules. Next we have 90s April. She's good. I don't have strong opinions about her though. Like she exists and I do like her a lot, but you know, I'm not obsessed with her, which might make people mad. I don't know, but she does sort of carry the plot in the first film, but like with a lot of the 90s characters, I think they're all very solid depictions of them, but I'm not obsessed with them. The things I do like about her are just like her dynamic with Casey, which is very reminiscent of 2003, and I'm assuming Mirage, since that's what both of them are primarily based on. But you know, she does not stand out to me. 2003 April, S tier. I adore her. She's my favorite version of April. She's just she's badass, but like her relationship with Casey is adorable, and she's smart, and she's so cool. I just love 2003 April. 2007 April is again pinnacle of C tier, because actually no, she's B tier. Sorry, she's B tier because this will come up with some of the other 2007 characters, because she's a good interpretation of April, but she's not amazing. Like she doesn't stand out. She's not quite neutral because like I do like her, but she's, you know, she does not stand out like other versions of April. IDW April, I might put in B tier. No, she's iconic. She is iconic. She's sassy. Her being fed up with Stockman is always fun. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in A tier. I do love her. She's fun. Now, 2012 April, like I mentioned for Donnie, biggest issues with her come from the love triangle. But I still love her as a character. Well, I might put her in B. A or B. I'm gonna put her in B because unfortunately with 2012 April, her main characterization, the main thing that 2012 April has going for her are she starts off as a love interest, so that already is like a major aspect of her role. And then the other thing is, you know, her powers, which are super cool and all, and I love seeing that highlighted for her, which is very fun, but it's not, you know, directly tied to her personality, and we don't really see April's personality highlighted a lot of the time. A lot of the time she is directly tied to plot or as, you know, a means of Donnie going through his journey with his crush on her and stuff. So that is unfortunately the deal with 2012 April, but so many people hate her, and it is undeserved. She does not deserve the amount of hate that she gets as a character. Literally my most popular video on my TikTok is me talking about April in relation to the love triangle and her relationship with Donnie and how it's kind of messy, and the comments are just flooded with people talking about how much they hate her, and it breaks my heart because I do think she is a solid foundation of a character and by no means the worst version of April. You know who is the worst version of April? Megan Fox. First F tier. No hate to Megan Fox, but she was not the right cast for this character at all. She's not good for April O'Neil. I don't think she plays April well. I can't stand how she's sexualized in the films, especially the first one with Mikey and Vernon, but there's still like the opening scene, one of the opening scenes in Out of the Shadows. Other than that scene, it's better in Out of the Shadows, but I hate the way she's portrayed. April as the character itself, I don't think I hate, but just everything surrounding her, like just like she is not portrayed well. I hate it. I hate this casting decision. It does not work. So sorry, Megan Fox, you are our first guest in the F tier. Contrary to that, in S tier is Rise April, who is an absolute gem. She is basically 2003 April. She reminds me of 2003 April very strongly, actually, just as a kid, and a bit more fiery. and very much leans it, like, I very much love how they lean into her being one of the turtles, like, sisters. One of their sisters? Well, they would have had more sisters if the show wasn't, you know, indefinitely put on pause, but, you know, she fills that sister role, and I think it's great. She's that older sister, she kind of, like, helps them out in different places, and I adore her. Mutant Mayhem April, I could very easily see her making her way to S tier. I'm gonna put her in A tier for now, because she's easily the best character in Mutant Mayhem. Well, maybe I'll put her in S tier then. She's easily the best character in Mutant Mayhem. I do wish, like, because a lot of the times with films, too, is you don't get a ton of time with the character, so it's kind of hard to... Actually, but Batman Versus does such a good... Batman Versus has so many characters, but then you still, like... They're all very good. Anyway, sorry, tangent. I'm gonna keep her in A tier. Where is she? Yeah, I'm gonna keep Mutant Mayhem April in A tier, because she's a very solid foundation of a character. Not quite enough for me to be like, I absolutely adore her, but she's great. She's super cute. We're moving on to Splinter. Yay, very exciting. Most of the Splinters are just, like, wise teacher and father, and doesn't, like, go beyond that, which is, like, Splinter doesn't need to go beyond that to be a good character, but a lot of the time it's like, okay, you're just like every other Splinter, which is great, but you're not, you know, above and beyond. So that's where 87 Splinter is gonna go. That's where 90 Splinter is gonna go. That's where Mutant Mayhem Splinter, or not Mutant Mayhem, Next Mutation Splinter is gonna go. Next Mutation Splinter is actually a really good character. Like, I think he's a good interpretation of Splinter. People give Next Mutation so much shit, but it's genuinely, like, has some good characters in it, even if it is a bit of a hot mess. 2003 Splinter, I'm actually gonna put in S tier. Actually not S tier. He's my favorite Splinter, but I'm gonna put him in A tier because, where's the 2003? 2003 Splinter, my favorite version of Splinter. He does sort of fall into the, you know, typical, you know, just wise sensei, father, whatever. But he, to me, is the best father figure of the versions of Splinter. They really lean into that a lot of the time, and I think it works really well. So he's definitely one of the best Splinters, and is my favorite Splinter. Next we have another one of the Splinters that I like. That's good. Where's 2007? But isn't super standout. IDW Splinter. Oh boy, I did really like him at the start of the series. But he pissed me off. He pissed me off in his arc, especially with Mikey, which is part of why I love Mikey. And then I don't like IDW Splinter. I think from a, like, character perspective, he is decent. Like, I think exploring Splinter being, like, kind of flawed and not, like, being, like, this perfect, upstanding person is compelling, which I will talk about with Rise Splinter. But unlike Rise Splinter, he goes from good to bad as opposed to improving. Throughout his arc, he gets more annoying to me, and I don't like him. We have 2012 Splinter. I'm gonna also put him in A tier because I do love him. I think he's objectively probably the best Splinter, because, well, he and 2003 Splinter, I think, are pretty on par with each other. He has the best design. I will say, 2012 Splinter, best design, hands down. He might be objectively better than 2003 Splinter, but I do just have such a special place in my heart for 2003 Splinter. 2012 Splinter he's so dad. He's so dad vibes, and I love that for him. Do not like all the fake out deaths, but that's not really a him problem, that's a writing issue. Oh, God. Baver Splinter, I don't like him. I don't like him either. Actually, he might be neutral. I don't know if I quite dislike him. He's just, I don't know. He's kind of annoying to me. He's fine. I don't love his design because he looks kind of weird to me, but I guess, like, he's a mutant rat, so I gotta be, like, somewhat forgiving of that. I don't know, though, but yeah, I don't really like him. I'm gonna put him in C tier. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Next we have Rise Splinter. Mixed feelings, because I don't love him in the first season, because he's intentionally written to be neglectful of his kids, and that's because he undergoes a journey throughout the series where he becomes a better person, becomes more understanding, and connects more with his kids, which it sucks that that's not like him from the start, but I think it's a very interesting way to explore. I'm gonna put him in A tier. It's a very interesting take to have Splinter be a flawed character and explore those flaws, and, you know, have him evolve alongside the turtles instead of being the static, I am, you know, your wise sensei, and, you know, I'm your father and I know best and whatever. He does try to pull the, like, hey, I'm your dad card, especially in the episode with Donnie and Demolition Derby. I don't love also like his design in the first season, especially where it kind of reads as a caricature. But beyond that, like, I think he's great. And finally, for the Splinters, we have Mutant Mayhem Splinter, who I actually think is a phenomenal version of Splinter. He's also, like, here's Mutant Mayhem. He explores, the character of Splinter, in a way that's different. Like, again, I do really enjoy when they lean outside of the typical characterization of Splinter, and I think it works really well here because they don't make him unlikable like they do with Rise, at certain points. He's just a very concerned father that is looking out for his kids, and I think having that specific characterization works really, really well for Splinter. So I do love Mutant Mayhem Splinter. He's my second favorite character next to April from that film. I think he's great. Moving on to Casey Jones, we have 87 Casey. He's great. He's the right amount of, chaotic for 87. He's honestly, I haven't read all of Mirage yet. I think the only Mirage issue that I've read with him is the one where he's introduced. But just based on that, to me, he is the most accurate, on-screen interpretation of Mirage Casey that I've seen so far. Because from what I've seen of Mirage Casey so far, it does feel very cartoony, like, intentionally. And I think 87 is, like, the perfect outlet for that and captures him so well. He's great. Next we have 90s Casey. Phenomenal. One of my favorite versions of Casey was 90s. 87, 2003, yeah, there. He's great. He reminds me of 2003 Casey, who is my favorite version of Casey, so I'm gonna put him right next to him. Actually, I'm gonna put him next to April. Yeah, these two are my favorite versions of Casey and April, and he is very much, similar to 2003 Casey, which is, because they're both based on Mirage and, like, his arc, especially with the farmhouse and stuff. I adore his relation. I adore 2003 Casey's relationship with April, and I think he's really, really fun. And then we have 2007 Casey goes right next to April and Splinter. Like, they're good. Don't stand out particularly. IDW Casey has a similar issue to Splinter, but I don't think I quite dislike him. He just annoys me with this thing with Jennika. The whole Jennika situation made him really irritating to me, especially when, but I don't quite dislike him like I do with Splinter. He just irritates me. We have 2012 Casey, one of my favorite versions of Casey. He does, again, love triangle, worst part of him, because especially with April, he is very gross and uncomfortable at times. But I do think he is a great version of Casey. I think he's fun. I love how they lean into him, being a chaotic gremlin, which makes him very, very fun. Another F tier is Baber's Casey. I hate his portrayal. It doesn't work for me, especially with him being a cop and the way, like, he's like, I'm gonna be a detective someday. Also, like, I don't think this is the right casting choice, really, either. Like, these two, I hate the direction they took for these characters, and they're easily the worst versions of Casey and April for me. Next we have Cassandra Jones, or Cassandra, I guess it's Cassandra. I say Cassandra because that's how they say it in Tangled. Anyway, she's great. I'll put her in A tier. I'm gonna put her next to Mikey and Splinter. I think I'd probably put her above Splinter, but yeah, she's great. We were robbed of seeing her as Casey Jones more. That's something that really upsets me, especially with the movie where they introduced her son, who's C tier, by the way. He's boring as hell. He's so boring. He's so boring, and he does not feel like Casey Jones literally at all. Anyway, she should have been in that movie. She should have been, the Casey Jones in that movie, because she very much feels like a typical characterization of Casey Jones, literally outside, like, the only difference is, she was a part of the Foot Clan and that, like, she's a girl. But, like, this version of Casey is so not Casey Jones vibes. This guy right here, like, he's boring. He's just boring to me. Next we have Last Ronin Casey. She's fine. I do like her. I don't have strong opinions on her, but I do like her. I think she's fun. Next we get to Shredder. 87 Shredder, S+, and my favorite character in the entire franchise. I love this man so much. He is the perfect, villain for the 80s show. He is easily, I think, the best version of Shredder. If you took him and put him in any other universe, he would make zero sense. But he is so perfect for the 87 universe, and just, he's hilarious, he's iconic, I love him so, so much. His dynamic with Krang is just delightful. best character for me. 90s Shredder. He sucks. Honestly, I was gonna put him in neutral. Do I put him in dislike, though? He's almost so boring that I dislike him. I'm gonna put him in D tier. I don't know if that's controversial. I don't know if we have any 90s, like, Shredder stans, but he's so boring. He's so boring, and the Turtles don't even encounter him until, like, the last 10 minutes of the first movie, and then even then, that fight is really boring. He just kind of sucks. I don't like him. F tier is Next Mutation Shredder. His acting is so bad. He felt unnecessary to the series, other than, like, it just, like, obviously, it ties him to, you know, other iterations by, like, oh, it's the Shredder, so it's a TMNT show. But he sucks. His acting is bad. He feels unnecessary. I hate him. He's so annoying. 2003, Shredder number 1. I literally have all 3 of them here. We have, well, the 4th one is Karai, but she's down the line. Anyway, we have original Utrom Shredder. I do like him. Conceptually, he's a really, really cool version of Shredder, but, like, he's kind of, he does have moments where he does get kind of boring, you know, with, like, the whole, like, constantly coming back. The only good fake-out death he has is the one where, like, his head gets chopped off. That's the only good one, because it has the, like, element of mystery to it that makes it compelling. But generally, like, he's just generic evil villain, and while that works for 87 Shredder also has stuff going for him. Like, he's genuinely a funny character, whereas 2003 Shredder is just, like, I'm evil, and I do evil things, so it makes him just a little bit boring, but I still do like him, and I think conceptually he's very cool. Demon Shredder, he was the, like, you know, the base for Rise Shredder, I feel. Like, Rise Shredder takes a lot of inspiration from him, but Rise Shredder is way better. I'm gonna put him in neutral. He's kind of boring to me. Yeah. He's generic evil, but at least 2000, I think at least the Utrom Shredder has more going for him. Cyber Shredder right next to Demon Shredder. I do think, again, it's cool that they went for a different approach. Technically, this is viral, but it's like if you took Viral and Shredder and Utrom Shredder and merge them together, because it is viral, but it's viral with Utrom Shredder's consciousness. It's giving Glitch Trap. Anyway, next we have IDW Shredder. One of the best Shredders, honestly. He is phenomenal because he has a redemption arc that I think works and isn't, like, super forced. He's still sort of, like, in the background, and isn't just suddenly, like, I'm besties with all the main characters now. There's still hesitation and stuff there, and it leads to conflict with the Turtles and stuff, and with Alopex, especially. Alopex gets really upset about it. But I think he's a really compelling character, and I think he's a really cool version of Shredder. 2012 Shredder, I would also put in S tier. I think he's the best, you know, on screen. Objectively, other than 87 Shredder, he's the best, you know, trying to be intimidating interpretation of Shredder. The only issue I have with him is that he's a static character and does not change. Like, obviously he gets mutated, but beyond that, like, that's a physical change. Like, he is the exact same person he is at the start of the series as he is at the end. Maybe even, like, just more crazy and bitter, I think, is the only difference, and that, like, just, I don't think that's compelling enough. But, you know, his backstory, his relationship with Yoshi is so compelling, and it's phenomenal, even if, like, I do wish they kind of explored him evolving a bit more as a character. I think he is the best, you know, intimidating interpretation of Shredder. I think he's really good. Bebop Shredder exists. I don't have opinions about him, honestly. He's fine. My main issue with that version of Shredder is actually that I put Eric Sachs here because he was supposed to be Shredder, and Orokusaki did not exist. So I'm putting him in F tier simply because they were going to make the Shredder a white billionaire, which is icky. So Eric Sachs is F tier for existing. Also, as a character, he's just generic evil, but the circumstance surrounding him existing makes me really upset, so he's an F tier. Rise Shredder, I'm gonna put in S tier as well, because I think he takes the concept from 2003 of Demon Shredder and makes him interesting and has an emotional backstory similar to 2012 Shredder, with, you know, his relationship with his daughter being highlighted and having Karai, you know, wanting to save him from this demon that has sort of taken over him from the dark armor, and I think that's compelling. Hey, editing Tori here. I just realized that I forgot to include Batman vs. TMNT Shredder, which is my bad. I probably would put him in B tier because I think he's a good depiction of Shredder, but he doesn't particularly stand out. I absolutely adore his fight with Batman at the start of the film, but, you know, beyond that, he's just a good Shredder. So that's all I have. Next we have Karai's. 2003 Karai, she's fine, she's good. She's kind of boring, and I wish they did more with her as Shredder because she kind of sucked as Shredder. I think she, like, blew up the turtle lair, and that's about all she did that was interesting, and then was just like, I'm the one true Shredder, this demon Shredder sucks. And then she, like, helped defeat Demon Shredder, and that was a slay. But, like, I like her, but she's not, like, amazing to me. 2007, similar, again, along the same lines as all of these, like, other 2007 characters that I put in B tier. Like, she's good, but she doesn't really, you know, stand out at all. She's fine. IDW Karai is really cool. Yeah, I love her. I think maybe not. Nah, no. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in A tier. She's really good. You know, they lead more into her being an antagonist, I think, in IDW compared to some of the other iterations, where, like, she isn't ever really on the turtle sides. They, like, maybe have temporary alliances and stuff like that, but I think she's interesting, and having her, like, as the successor to Orokusaki, even though he's technically not dead, but whatever. She works. I think she's good. Then we have objectively the best Karai, which is 2012 Karai, who's absolutely going in S tier. You know, exploring the concept of her being Splinter's daughter is fantastic. And she just has, like, the most interesting personality. I love her journey with, like, trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong. It's so, she's phenomenal. She's a great character. Bae vs. Karai exists. I don't have opinions on her. She's fine. She exists. Rise Karai, I don't have strong opinions about either. I think she would move up higher. I'm gonna put her in B tier because I do like her, but, you know, like, we didn't get much time with her. I do love how they made her, you know, the turtles' ancestor, and how they highlighted the conflict of between her and her father and the Shredder, and having that be, like, trying to reunite father and daughter, I think was compelling. But, and if we got all of the episodes they were going to do where she, like, had a little adventure with each of the turtles, I think she could have moved up. But what we did get with her, she was there for just, like, one half of an episode, which really sucks, because I think she could have been even cooler. But I like her. I think she's great. Moving on to Baxter Stockman. He's very fun. We've got 87 Stockman. Other than his human design, I do love 87 Stockman. He's so cheesy, and as the series progresses, every time he shows up again, I think he's... Oh, I didn't include the computer in this tier list. He'd probably be next to him, though. Stockman's computer boyfriend. He kind of is losing his mind, but, like, his alien computer companion, you know, kind of keeps him on track and stuff, and believes in him. And I think he's really fun. I do really, really love 87 Stockman. Again, my biggest issues with him are his human design, and I think he's kind of boring in season 2, but, like, later on in the series, I think he's great. 2003 Stockman, S tier. He's my favorite Stockman, easily. They do such a phenomenal job of highlighting that he's pathetic, but he's also capable, and that his downfall is his hubris. Because some iterations of Stockman, which I'll get to for a lot of these other ones, very much just are like, he's pathetic, and subservient to the Shredder, and that's kind of the end of his story. He's just a pathetic little man. But 2003 Stockman is pathetic in a way where he thinks so highly of himself. He doesn't feel like he's pathetic. Like, other versions of Stockman are like, they embrace that as part of who they are, whereas 2003 Stockman, it fully believes in himself, and it keeps backfiring and bringing him into worse and worse situations, and I think that makes him a really, really good version of Stockman. IDW Stockman I do really like as well, but I think my biggest issue with him is that there's, like, no element of being pathetic. Like he's kind of the opposite of the typical characterization of Stockman, where it's like they took 2003 Stockman, who started progressing towards, you know, being capable in some ways, and he's just winning. IDW Stockman is just, like, thriving, honestly, especially compared to other versions of Stockman. He still, like, has moments where he's, like, under other people's thumbs, especially, like, in Armageddon game, as just being, like, another piece in the puzzle. But because he's so capable, I don't like him as much as some of the other Stockmans, but I still think he's a really, really good interpretation of Stockman. 2012 Stockman, I like him. Again, just like sort of generic pathetic Stockman. I don't really have strong opinions on him. Kind of same with Bebop Stockman, honestly. I'm gonna put him next to him. They're kind of the same in my book. I don't like Baxter Stockboy. He's annoying. Actually, I'm gonna put him in C tier because I don't hate him. I don't really dislike him. And I think exploring the idea of having Stockman, you know, like as a kid instead is kind of fun. But he's kind of, he's boring. And also, I've mentioned before, I'm generally not a fan of kid characters, so he's kind of more annoying in that sense. I do think the concept of leaning into him being pathetic is because he's just a kid is fun. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him. Batman Stockman, I'm going to put him A or B. I think I'm going to put him in B because, like, he isn't, like, an incredible version of Baxter Stockman, but he works perfectly for the Batman universe. Like, he doesn't need to be anything more. He has the best fly design, first of all, but, like, you know, he is simply just pathetic man that is subservient to Shredder because of whatever. He's basically a hostage, is like the running gag in the film, and he was the perfect interpretation of Stockman for the film. But, like, because he doesn't particularly stand out to me, I'm going to put him in B tier, even though he is a very good interpretation of Stockman for that. Mutant Mayhem Stockman. I like that they highlighted him being a dad, but, like, other than that, he's boring, because he dies in the first, like, 2 minutes of the movie. He was originally, I think, supposed to be the main antagonist, but because, like, they immediately, you know, kind of offed him, you know, we didn't get much with him, and we didn't really get to get a sense of him as a character, other than he's a dad that wants to be a dad to all these mutants, which I did enjoy that aspect of him, but, like, we didn't get really any other, Stockman traits that we typically see, which kind of sucks. Especially because Stockman is just generally a cool character that's fun to explore, and we didn't get that in that film, which sucks. Moving on to the Utrom / Krang. Some of these, like the 2012 and the Rise, I'm just sort of generally referring to the Krang as a race. 87 Krang, S tier. He's so funny. He, like I mentioned before, his dynamic with Shredder is my favorite thing ever. I adore them. They're great. We have more too, and this also is generally just the Utrom in 2003. They're fine. I'm pretty indifferent about the Utrom in 2003. Mortu's just like a chill guy. I don't have strong opinions on him either way. The Utrom are fine, and they're the most, like, you know, based on Mirage and stuff, so. Then we have Krang in IDW, who I do really like. I think I might even put him in love, because he's a really cool character, actually. I'm gonna put him in B. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I do like Krang in IDW. I think he's a fun interpretation of the character, but he doesn't, like, stand out, like, amazingly to me. I do think he has some cool moments, though. We have, I put Krang, so I put two from 2012. I put Krang and then Krang Prime and Krang Subprime. Krang Prime is also kind of just a stand-in for the Krang race in general, but I'm also going to put them in B tier because I think they're good. I like their designs. I think they're fun, but Krang Prime is also just boring to me. But I think, like, the Krang race, it conceptually is interesting. I'm not really a fan of, like, the Utrom, like, council or whatever, but I maybe should have put them on here as well, but yeah, they're kind of boring, but I think they're interesting enough that I think they're okay. Krang Subprime, honestly, I do like him as well. When we get to Irma, I will air my grievances with him, but it's not him, it's the disrespect they put on Irma. Anyway, we have Krang from Bayverse films. Yeah, most of the Krang are honestly going in B tier because I like him. I think his design is really cool. I might put him in C, actually. I think his design is cool. I don't really remember much from him, but I thought he was alright. I don't like the Rise Krang. I don't like the Rise Krang. I think, first of all, I hate their designs. I hate that they look like fleshy sticks of butter. Like, why are they so rectangular? I don't know. I hate it. And they're just boring. They're boring to me. The one thing I do really like about them is the Technodrome. I think their Technodrome, like, being this organic giant sphere of a ship is super cool, especially, like, you know, with Donnie being able to, like, hack into it, is really interesting. But, like, I do not like the Rise Krang. I think they kind of suck, in my personal opinion, but yeah, that's all of the Krang and Utrom gone through. Okay, so now we've gotten through basically all of our main recurring characters, from the franchise, and so now we're diving into, you know, some of the mutants and some of the recurring mutant characters and supporting characters that we see. So first, we have Alopex. I love her. She's kind of suffering the problem that Raph is, where she's kind of irritated me more recently, but she's like, I do understand where she's coming from with the shredder stuff, so she's super cool. I love Alopex. She's awesome. I think the stuff that I love about her outweighs my grievances with her in some of the recent issues. Alopex from 2012, I think she's pretty cool. I do like how they made her Tiger Claw's sister, but you know, I don't have strong opinions about her. I'm gonna put her in B tier because I do like her. I think she's fun, conceptually especially, but like, you know, I'm not, you know, obsessed with her or anything. We have Armaggon from IDW. He, like, barely makes an appearance. I only included him because of Armaggon from 2012, and I was like, I do kind of want to talk about IDW Armaggon because he's a giant shark in the sky. That's cool. Like, I don't care who you are. That's cool. So I'm putting him in B tier because, like, just I don't remember what he is or what this explanation was, but I think giant shark in the sky is very fun, so I included him. 2012 Armaggon, I don't like the space arc. I've talked about this before. I don't like the space arc. I think Armaggon is one of the better parts of the space arc, actually. I think he's kind of cool, but generally, I'm pretty neutral toward him. Next, we have all the Bebop and Rocksteadies. I'm gonna group them together because for the most part, they are, like, essentially the same character. The exception to that is 2012, but I'd still kind of put them right next to each other. Anyway, 87 Bebop and Rocksteady, they work. They serve their purpose. They are kind of boring characters because they're just like the stupid lackeys to, you know, Shredder and Krang, but I do like them. I think they're fun. I'm gonna put them both in B tier because I do like them, but they don't stand out to me like some of the other you know, TMNT 87 characters. Next, we have IDW, Bebop and Rocksteady, who are S tier. I think they are the best Bebop and Rocksteadies in the franchise, because the issue with 87 Bebop and Rocksteady is, like, basically, they're stupid, but they're not ever really a threat, to the Turtles, whereas Bebop and Rocksteady in IDW and in Babers, which I will get to in a second, they are bumbling idiots, but they are terrifying. They are a menace. They can do real damage. I absolutely adore, like, Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road and Bebop and Rocksteady Destroy Everything. Ruin Everything? I think it's Destroy Everything is what it's called. Like, those arcs really highlight how chaotic and violent and, like, extremely violent they are, but they're also just really stupid. And I think it makes them, like, they're the perfect interpretation of Bebop and Rocksteady. Next, I'm gonna talk about I'll talk about 2012 in a second. I'm gonna put Babers right next to them because they're basically the same. I think IDW are more violent, especially, you know, with what happens to Donnie, but, you know, they're essentially the same thing I love about IDW is what I love about Babers, and I think Babers, like, Bebop and Rocksteady are a big reason why I do really, really like Out of the Shadows. Like, they are phenomenal. They are such a good interpretation of those characters. The best Babers characters, honestly, are Bebop and Rocksteady. They're so good. Bobsteady from 2012, the most different, actually no, Mutant Mayhem is pretty different too, but 2012 Bobsteady, I adore their dynamic with each other. And the fact that they're just unapologetically like a couple, which is great. But on top of that, like, I think they're a really unique interpretation of the characters. They don't really, like, have them be idiots. Like, Rocksteady, I think, more is closer to that, but isn't. I like how they reinterpreted the characters. Like, it's not trying to be another version of, you know, like, IDW or 87 Bebop and Rocksteady. They are very much their own entity, and I think it works well, like, having that different exploration, especially, like, getting to know them as Anton Zek and Ian Steranko before that. I do still kind of prefer that chaotic, violent interpretation of Bebop and Rocksteady, but I love 2012 Bobsteady. They're great. I think they're also just a fantastic interpretation of these characters, even if it is very different from what we typically see with them. Bebop and Rocksteady from Mutant Mayhem are so boring. I'm putting them in C tier because I don't have a reason to dislike them, but they're so fucking boring. They don't really feel like Bebop and Rocksteady, other than, you know, their designs and, you know, the way they talk and stuff. They're boring to me, and that's an issue that a lot of the Mutant Mayhem characters suffer. Is they're just part of the mutant ensemble and don't stand out individually, like, at all. Next is Leatherhead, 87 Leatherhead. I don't really like him. I don't dislike him, but I don't really like him. He's, like, kind of similar to Slash for me, where he exists, and I don't really have opinions on him. I do really like 2003 Leatherhead, especially, like, his relationship with Donnie, and, like, when we see in, like, Good Genes and stuff like that. But he doesn't particularly stand out to me. IDW Leatherhead, they milked this reveal for so long. Like, they had at least I think there was 2 or 3 specific moments where they're like, oh, crocodile mutant? I don't know if he's a crocodile or an alligator, full disclosure. But, oh, is that Leatherhead maybe? I don't know. And then, like, it was forever before he actually properly showed up. I do enjoy Leatherhead, like, being this, you know, antagonistic force, and being kind of violent and doing his own thing. I do really enjoy, I think I'm gonna put him in B tier, because he's a good interpretation of Leatherhead. Not obsessed with him or anything, but I think he's good, even if he is kind of, you know, a piece of shit. And, like, the arc with Krang especially is really interesting. When he first pulled up with Krang, my jaw was on the floor. That was crazy. Anyway, 2012 Leatherhead, I love him. He's so cute. I adore his relationship with Mikey, like the sort of role model, like being sort of like a parental figure to Mikey in a way, but like not looking down on him like as like his superior or anything. I adore 2012 Leatherhead. He's so cute. He's so cute, but he's like not like he's a violent guy and he's going through some stuff too, which is really interesting. Mutant Mayhem Leatherhead. I like her more than Bopsteady because, you know, she's not boring. But she's also, again, she's mostly just a background character like a lot of the other mutants. Very cool. Really like the design and how it's reminiscent of 87 Leatherhead, but it's kind of boring. Next we got Mona Lisa's. Mona Lisa does only show up for 1 episode in 87, but I just adore her so much. She's S tier. She is S tier. She is literally the perfect love interest for 87 Raphael. Like, the way she plays off of him is adorable. I love her so much. She's iconic. IDW Mona Lisa, she's fine. I don't really have opinions on her. I might even put her in C tier. Like, I guess I like her, but not, like, she's fine. She exists. I do love her design. Her design is super cool, but she's kind of boring to me, to be honest. So I'm gonna put her next to Casey. Because, yeah, she's fine. 2012 Mona Lisa, I love her. She's going A tier. I love her relationship with Raph. Again, I mentioned for him. They're super cute. I love them. Like, they're adorable, but yeah, she's great. Next we have Mondo Gecko. 87 Mondo Gecko, I like him. He's great. He's fun. I love the way he plays off of Mikey. They're super cute. Especially like the way he's introduced is great. I might put him even in A tier. No, I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's great. I do really like him. IDW Mondo Gecko also is great. He and Mikey play off each other nicely. He's fun. I think I'm also gonna put him in B tier because he doesn't quite stand out to me as like incredible, but I do think he's fun. I do like IDW Mondo Gecko. 2012 Mondo Gecko is also fun, but yeah, he's fine. I don't want to put him... Nah, he's not C tier, but I'm gonna put him in B tier. Because he's alright. But he doesn't stand out to me as, like, incredible. He's just alright. I do really like Mutant Mayhem Mondo Gecko. I think is probably the best of the mutant ensemble, other than Superfly, maybe. Because he's actually interesting. I think he actually, like, kind of stands out somewhat compared to a lot of the other mutants that just are sort of there. He actually, like... He feels more fleshed out, and I really like his design as well. I think he's fun. Oh yeah, this is the Seymour Guts section. I did include 87 Seymour Guts because he just is kind of a background what? Background character. But you know, IDW, poor, tragic story. His introduction is so sad, but I do like him. I think he's cool. I love that he joins the Mighty Mutanimals and finds a home there. Yeah, he's not super significant, but I think it was worth, you know, addressing him. And then Timothy, I didn't feel like showing his Mutagen Man form because, like, we kind of get to know him more as this version of Timothy. I do like him. He's kind of fun. He's kind of a chaotic character. When in Mutagen Man Unleashed, when he's kind of, like, obsessed with April and stuff is uncomfortable. That's, like, my biggest issue with him, but, like, he's camp. He's also Roger Craig Smith, so we love a good Roger Craig Smith character. His voice is so iconic and campy at times, and it's fun. Pigeon Pete, high key, might put him in S+. I love Pigeon Pete so much. He is adorable. His introduction, I didn't include it because I, like, don't know if that's gonna be an issue to put, the picture on the internet because he's holding a weapon, but it's literally just Mikey and Slash Mikey, Slash, and Raph, I think, going into a room, and Pigeon Pete has Lindsay as a hostage, and just has a straight up revolver, and is like, hi! It's so funny! Yeah, and I adore him. He's super cute. He's great. Pigeon Pete, icon. This Pigeon Pete, trash! Get out of here! Listen, he's probably more realistically D tier, but he goes F tier simply because compared to this icon, that is IDW Pigeon Pete, he sucks. You suck, Pigeon Pete. Also, like, his design is weird. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, moving on to the punk frogs. I don't even know why they're called punk frogs in 87 because they're not punk, like, at all. They're fun. They're actually kind of funny. I actually do sort of love them because they're just so nice. They're just like, it's such a fine day today. It's like, they're so funny. I don't know. I sort of love the punk frogs in 87, especially in the Leatherhead episode where they're just like, oh, he may be sociopathic, but he's such a nice guy. It's great. It's great. It's such a fun bit. The IDW punk frogs, it's kind of hard to see in this tiny little picture. But first of all, I love their color palette. I think they're like the only punk frogs that actually feel like punk frogs. And their designs are so cool. I love how they're tied to Venus. Yeah, I think they're fun. I'm gonna put them in A and B tier because they're not because they don't quite stand out to me like they do in TMNT 87, but they're very cool. They're legitimately very cool, and I do really like the IDW punk frogs. They're fun. 2012 frogs. I don't even know if they're called punk frogs, but I didn't really care about them, so I'm putting them in C tier. I don't dislike them, but they exist. Like, that's kind of how I feel about them. They're fine. They're there. I don't really care. Same thing with Genghis Frog. Like with the rest of the mutants in Mutant Mayhem, he exists. I have, like, 0 opinions on Genghis Frog. Literally none. Man Ray, we moved on to, like, the Ray Fillet section. I did not include Ray from 87 because he's boring to me. Anyway, Man Ray, he's cool. I like he's like Hob, but genuinely like a bad person, I feel. Like, Man Ray is Hob, but more of a shitty person to me, is what I see from him. So, I like him as a character. I think he's interesting as an antagonistic force. But I think I'm gonna put him in C, actually, because he doesn't stand out amazingly. I do enjoy seeing a character like Hob, but, like, worse is kind of, like I said, that's kind of how I would describe him. He's going in C tier. Next we have Ray Fillet. Honestly, might put him next to Mondo Gecko because he stands out more than the other mutants, especially with his singing. I think it's fun. And his design is just so good. I have the Art of Mutant Mayhem book. I don't have it with me because it's back at home, but, seeing, like, how they wanted to give him, like, snorkels, but because it's too small for his face, they were like, what if we did it like an eye patch and then took out his other eye, and that's, like, protection. And I think that's such a cool design, and it's genius. It's so smart, and I think he's really cool in that regard. Yeah, as a character, doesn't stand out to me, but he's alright. Scumbug, she's alright. Good for Splinter, I'm like, that was random and kind of traumatizing, but good for him, I guess. But I'm gonna put her in C tier. She's alright. I kind of love the idea of the turtles having, like, that mom figure, even though she's a silly little mutant cockroach. We got Wingnut and Screwloose. Quite a few versions of Wingnut, actually. Like, this is a surprising number. None of them are super significant. From 87, they exist. I don't have opinions on them. I don't have opinions on 87 Wingnut and Screwloose. I think they're pretty cool in IDW. I think basically all of the Wingnuts and Screwloose are going in C tier because generally they're fine. But I think I'm gonna put this one in B because I think they're cool and I love how they tie into the Bebop Rocksteady story. I don't remember which one it is. It might be Hit the Road. I don't remember which one it is, but I love a good Bebop Rocksteady story and they kind of play into that. And I love how they're kind of like this. I think they're like a sort of urban legend in that one, and I think that's really fun. Wingnut and Screwloose, basically Batman and Robin in 2012. I don't have opinions on them. Yeah. That episode also just is like a Mikey-centric episode, but also is a way to focus on April and the Crystal, as sort of set up for the power inside her, so they're fine. I do think I like Wingnut in Mutant Mayhem, actually. I think I might put her up here. Her design's cool. No, I'm gonna put her in C tier. She's fun. She exists. I don't have strong opinions on her either. Irma, my beloved. I love her so much. She's going. I love her. I love her. I'm putting her right next to April because they're girlfriends and in love. Um, like, she's so sweet. She's sassy. I love when she's constantly dissing Vernon. It's so fun. She and April are adorable together. I love them dearly. Yeah, she's great. The show kind of disrespects Irma at times, which makes me sad because I love her so much, but yeah, she's great. I hate Irma in 2012. Because Irma, so I guess spoilers, but like I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've generally seen 2012, and this is just season 2 anyway. But like she and Krang Prime are the same character, but you know I included her separately because like she is Irma and she's like a reinterpretation of a pre-existing character. And the disrespect, like already if there wasn't that twist that she was Krang Subprime, I already didn't like her because she was like an annoying Velma. If Velma sucked, basically. She was just an annoying character that didn't have substance to her, and then the twist made me kind of hate her. So, and what made me hate her even more is when I watched TMNT 87 and realized this absolute gem of a character existed, and this is what they did to her. So, she's going in F tier. I hate 2012 Irma. Next, we have Vernon. We've only got 2 Vernons, which is surprising that, like, I didn't include, you know, Burne, Vernon, and Irma from IDW because they're, like, background characters. Like, they're part of the news, but, like, they're not really involved in the main plot of IDW. I don't believe so. Vernon, I love him. Like, he's a piece of shit. He's generally a terrible person, but that's why I love him because, like, as a character, he exists for people to hate him. And that's why I love him because I hate him. You know what I mean? Because he's such a shitty person. But that makes him iconic, you know? So I'm putting him in A tier. Baver's Vernon is also a good interpretation. I'm gonna put him in B tier because I think he is very, very similar to 87 Vernon, and they did a great job adapting him and making him shitty. But, you know, I'm moving him down because, you know, the harassment of, the sexualization of April is in part because of him. He and Mikey more, but like there's that one scene where April's leaning out the window and it's gross. But he's a really good adaptation of Vernon from TMNT 87, so I do actually like him. Burne Thompson, I'm gonna put him in C tier because like individually I don't really care about him, but like he adds to the you know, Channel 6 dynamic, which is, I adore the Channel 6 dynamic, and it doesn't exist in TMNT 87, and it doesn't exist in that form in, like, any other iteration, and it is something that, like, I want to see adapted in other iterations, but just has not happened yet. We've got Bernadette Thompson, who is the Bayverse equivalent. I don't care about her. I'm honestly gonna put her in D tier because she's kind of annoying. She's fine. She's annoying. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Bishop. I love Bishop. 2003 Bishop is the original Bishop, and honestly might be my favorite Bishop. He's great. I'm gonna put him in S tier, honestly. He's a really good villain. He might be my favorite antagonist from 2003 because he's super cool. IDW Bishop is basically, I'm gonna put him in A tier because I don't think he's quite on par with 2003 Bishop, but he's great. Very similar to 2003 Bishop in terms of vibes. 2012 Bishop, I'm not gonna put him in hate, but I will put him in dislike. Because, like, I don't think it's fair to put him in hate because I don't have any reason to actually hate him. But he sucks, man. Like, I have an issue with him because Bishop is such a cool character and they basically made him boring. They took a really cool character and made him kind of suck. Next up, we have Hun. 2003 Hun is great. S tier. I like this trio here, Bishop, Stockman, and Hun. Like, these 3 villains honestly are like the best trio of antagonists, I think, in 2003. I think they're so fun, and like, you know, the way that Stockman like plays off of Bishop and Hun is really interesting. I think Bishop and Hun, I don't know if we actually get really interactions between them, but I think they would have a really interesting dynamic as well. Anyway, those 3, very interesting to me. IDW Hun, he's a piece of shit, but he does being a piece of shit so well, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Like, he sucks. He is objectively a terrible person. And I think the way they do that for Hun is so interesting. I think he's a really, really interesting character. Even though I hate him as a person, as a character, I do sort of love him. He's great. 2012 Han exists. I don't have opinions on him. Yeah. He's fine. Angel from 2003. She also sort of exists. Yeah, I might put her in B tier. B tier or C tier? I'm gonna put her in C tier. She's fine. She exists. I don't really have opinions on Angel. Part of the reason I think I do somewhat enjoy her 2003 is because I love her in IDW. She's going A tier for IDW. She's super cool. I love how she plays off of Harold. I love how she plays off of Harold. Actually, that might move her to S tier simply because of Harold. Like, their dynamic is great. She's just super cool. Angel in IDW is just super cool. Also her relationship with Alopex is super fun. Like, I love Angel in IDW. I did put Kendra here because Kendra is not Angel, but to me she very much reads as somewhat based on Angel. Maybe she's not, but you know, she's the purple-haired purple dragon sort of leader. So I put Kendra here because of that, and I love Kendra. She's cool. You know, the sassy, kind of manipulative, you know, purple dragon tech girly. Like, she's cool. I really like her. Next we have the Rat King. Quite a few versions of the Rat King. 87 Rat King. I love him. He's so camp. He's so corny. Like, the way he's just like, I'm the Rat King. Like, the way he says it is so funny. Also, like, when he shows up in the Great Baldini, the episode that has, like, nothing to do with him, and then Zach says something, he calls the like, I think it's Don Tertelli, and his guy, and his goons, rats, and then Rat King pulls up and is like, did someone say rats? It's so funny. I don't know if they ever call this character Rat King in 2003, but that's like kind of who he's supposed to be. He's interesting, but only shows up for like one episode, and then in like the final episode he has a cameo. Like, I don't have opinions on him. Like, he sort of exists. His design's kind of cool. I don't remember even what his origin is. Like, I wish they did more with him, honestly, because I think he had potential, but they didn't really explore him, so he's in C tier. IDW Rat King is very cool, and I'll talk about this with the Pantheon. How the Pantheon is a very interesting concept to, you know, introduce into TMNT, and, you know, I think IDW Rat King is a really intimidating force. I don't love him, but, like, I do really like him. I think he's interesting. 2012 Rat King is pretty cool as well. I think I'm also going to put him in B tier, because he's cool. Again, not obsessed with him, but he's a very cool interpretation of Rat King, I feel. Moving on to Renet, who is the only Mirage character I can rank, because Renet in IDW and Mirage are the same person. Same thing with Savanti Romero. So I love Renet. Renet is one of those characters that I feel has not been adapted enough. And especially the fact, I'm gonna rant real quick, the fact that she does not show up in the Rise movie, which is time travel based. What are we doing? What are we doing? I love Renet. Where is she? Why couldn't we introduce Renet? And, like, you know, it's cool that Mikey's using his mystic powers to open a time portal and whatever, but Renet is literally so freaking cool. I adore her so much. 2003 Renet, I also love her. She can be a bit annoying. Her second appearance, she's more annoying, but, like, her introductory episode, I love her so much. The way they just lean into her just being ditzy, like, oops, I accidentally time traveled, my bad. Anyway, this might be a hot mess, but, you know, it's whatever. Like, she's great. She's great. I'm gonna put her in S tier, honestly. Like, because she's not perfect by any means, but I just have so much love for her, because she's so goofy, and she's great. 2012 Renet, I think, is really great as well. Do I put her in A tier? I don't have strong feelings about 2012 Renet. I think she's alright. She's cute. She's a good interpretation of Renet. She is more competent than 2003 Renet. But, yeah, I like her. She's good. I'm not obsessed with her, but she's a good interpretation of Renet. We have Savanti Romero. These three I do not have strong opinions on, but Mirage, IDW, Savanti is definitely the best one of the three. I did not include all of the IDW characters because there are a lot, especially ones that are references to some of the other iterations. Like I mentioned, that's why I didn't include the Channel 6 people, but there's just so many IDW characters. Anyway, Savanti Romero, I like him. I think he's cool. I really like his design, especially when you see him standing next to Bebop and Rocksteady, and he's, like, just so small compared to them. He's great. I think he's cool. Don't really care for 2003 Savanti. He exists. That's about all I gotta say about him. He exists. 2012 Savanti Romero, same thing. They're both just kind of generic and boring, honestly. They exist. Dregg, I hate this man. And the reason I hate Dregg is because he replaced Shredder, who is my favorite character ever. Also, he's boring and sucks. I hate Dregg. And I don't really like the Red Sky arc anyway, so, like, on top of that, I just hate Dregg. I hate Lord Dregg. This version of Dregg I also don't like, but I don't... that's mostly an issue with the space arc. He's not terrible. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in D tier. I don't like him either. You know, the way he's, like, just brought in is because, like, I think the turtles, like, inconvenienced him, and now he's suddenly a, like, major antagonist in the space arc, and also the space arc is not, this is, again, it's partially my beef with the space arc and how it has, like, nothing to do with anything, and how the writing kind of sucks, and Dregg is part of where I think the writing kind of sucks, so, yeah, I don't like him. Next we have Usagi. I love Usagi. 87 Usagi is very cute. I would put him in B. I like him. I don't love him, but I do really like 87 Usagi. He's cute. 2003 Usagi, S tier. Put him next to his boyfriend. You're going next to Leo. I love the dynamic between Usagi and Leo. It's delightful. And I think making Usagi the turtle's age was, like, the right move. Because, like, it's unclear in 87 how old he is, and, like, in 2012 it seems he's very clearly meant to be, like, you know, more Usagi, like, the way he is in the comics where he's kind of, like, early mid-20s. I think the dynamic between Usagi and Leo is just phenomenal. I love him so much. 2012 Usagi's good. Again, I think he's more accurately adapted from the comics, but you don't really get the silly juice that comic Usagi has sometimes, which kind of makes him a little boring at times, but I still like him. Then we got Fugitoid, who generally kind of boring, not gonna lie. 2003 Fugitoid is kind of stupid also. He's kind of a dumbass. Like, he's a smart scientist, but, like, he's kind of stupid when it comes to, like, the Triceratons and, what's it called, the Republic? Is it a Republic? I don't know. Federation, not the Republic, Federation. He's boring. I'm just gonna put him in C tier. Fugitoid in IDW is cool. I do like him, actually. IDW Fugitoid is cool. The twist with him is very cool, that I did not see coming. When you figure out, like, who he is, we're like, oh, shit! What? That's crazy. That was very exciting. God, I love the IDW comics. And then the best version of Fugitoid is David Tennant. Like, I like, I don't like the space arc. Like I said, Fugitoid is one of the things I do really like about the space arc. He's an icon. He is genuinely such an icon. He and Mona Lisa are big parts of and Chompy, who I'll get to, are the things I like about the space arc. Next we have the Neutrinos. 87 Neutrinos, I don't have strong opinions on. They exist. They can be kind of annoying at times, but they're fine. They're silly little guys. IDW Neutrinos, I do actually really like. I'm gonna put them in B tier because they're cool. I like how they take these guys and make them, like, you know, more competent instead of just, like, teens trying to have a good time, and that's why Dimension X hates us. Because having a good time in Dimension X is, like, illegal or something, which is so weird. But anyway, I do love how they're, like, a competent kind of force, and it's enjoyable. Princess Trib. I dislike her. No, I don't dislike her. That's rude to her, because she's not bad at all. I don't like that she's Mikey's love interest. That makes me really upset. Her as a love interest, like, Mikey should not have a love interest in IDW, and it makes me upset. And they're also, their romance feels very, like, forced. It kind of reminds me of 2012, like, Mikey and Renet, but, like, not, like, that relationship I think has more chemistry than him and Trib. Also, she's kind of the annoying, like, I'm a princess, and I can do what I want because I have authority. She doesn't understand the consequences of her actions, and that, like when she's supposed to be undercover, and she's like, but I'm the princess, and it's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, I'm pretty sure that all the Neutrinos are like, oh god, what is she doing? She's going C tier, because I kind of don't like her, but it's rude to put her in D tier, so I'm not going to. Next we have Metalhead. I didn't include 2012 Metalhead because he doesn't really have a personality. 87 Metalhead's kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. He's kind of fun. I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's kind of a fun character. He only shows up for, like, he makes a cameo in another episode, but it's not, like, he kind of serves the role that 2012 Metalhead does, where he just is sort of a tool and an instrument for a gag. But I do like his episode. I think it's fun. Now, IDW Metalhead is, I'm putting him in S tier because he's insane. like as a character, I'm like, okay, he's fine. I don't want to spoil it, but the way there's a certain turning point where he becomes an actual character, and that shit is insane. I don't know how to articulate it without spoiling it, but if you've read IDW, you know that Metalhead in IDW is kind of insane. So the Triceratons, there are so many different Triceratons, so the only specific Triceraton I called out was Traximus from 2003. Everyone else is just sort of like generically the Triceratons as a whole. So the 2003 Triceratons, so this is like Mozar, Xandermon, all of them. Yeah, it's like Mozar, Xandermon, and Zog are kind of the three recurring ones. They're fine. I'm putting them in C tier. They're alright. Traximus, though, I do actually like. I think he's fun. I sort of love the dynamic he has with Raph in, the Battle Nexus and stuff. So he's fun. I do enjoy Traximus. We have the Triceratons from IDW, who I also do actually really enjoy. Their arc is very interesting, especially with, the Utrom and Bunro Island, I believe it's called. That whole thing is actually very interesting, and I do really enjoy the Triceratons in IDW. I don't like the 2012 Triceratons. Again, it's tied to the space arc and what I don't like about the space arc. They kind of suck. That's about it. They suck. Then we have Wyrm, who is the last on like the recurring characters before we get into all the characters that are sort of confined to their own specific iteration. Wyrm in IDW is cool. I actually did think IDW Wyrm was interesting. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. He was cool. I really like his design. Actually, he's not... No, I'm gonna put him in B tier. Fuck it, I'm putting him in B tier. I fucking hate Wyrm from 2012. Genuinely my least favorite episode in all of 2012. I hate the Wyrm episode so much. He's so annoying. He's trying to be the genie from Aladdin, but sucks at it. He sucks. I hate Wyrm from 2012 with all of my being. He sucks so much. As you can see, a lot of the characters that I don't like are space arc related, so yeah. So now we made it to the section where it's basically the characters that are exclusive to a specific iteration. Some of these have been adapted in small ways in other iterations, especially if you look at IDW, but these are kind of the main ones that I think they are important in. So starting off with Algernon, I think that's his name, from 87. He only appears in one episode, but I kind of adore him. He's so fun. He's like so polite. He's just a little chameleon guy that can he's basically prop hunt. His ability, he can turn into other objects. I think he's adorable, actually. He's great. I'm gonna put him in B tier because he's sweet. He's fun. I kind of wish he showed up more because he's a really fun character. I really liked his episode. We have Bugman. I don't really have opinions on Bugman. He's alright. I'm gonna put him in C tier. We have Carter. I'm also putting him in C tier. He's fine. Again, I don't really like the Red Sky arc, but Carter's alright. I wouldn't go so far as to say he's B tier and that I like him, but he's fine. He's an alright character. We have Howie, who is intentionally very annoying. Honestly, I'm gonna put him in C. I'm not gonna put him in D tier because I don't think I dislike him because, again, he's intended to be annoying. And I think his songs, some of them high-key slap. It's just fun. I think he's funny. He's intended to be an annoying character, and I think it works well, but, he's not amazing or anything. Next we have Kerma. Yeah, a lot of these 87 characters are going in C tier, because they sort of exist. Kerma exists. I don't really have opinions on him. Lotus, I really like her, actually. She's cute. Sort of wish she showed up for more episodes, but I did actually really enjoy her. In the episodes that she was in. We have, is this Pinky McFingers? Yeah. Honestly, don't remember much about him standing out. He's just a recurring character, which is why I included him. Mr. Og. Man, he's annoying. He's annoying. I'm putting him in D tier. Also his episode, I don't really remember it. I just remember finding him annoying.
So I recorded this video before I read the Saturday Morning Adventures comics, and Mr. Og is kind of iconic in those comics and is going to be part of the crossover that's coming up with issue 13. So he's no longer in D. I moved him up to C, and he could possibly move even higher depending on how more Saturday Morning Adventures goes. But yeah.
Dr. Philo Sopho, which took me way too long to realize that was a play on philosophy. He's C tier. He's an alright villain. He's fine. He exists. Rex 1. I love Rex 1. I love Rex 1. He's so... I love... The Rex 1 episode from Season 2 is probably my favorite Season 2 episode. He is iconic. He's got a lot of really funny moments in that episode. He comes... When he came back, I was very excited, but that episode wasn't as good. He wasn't as delightful as he was in his premiere episode, but I love Rex 1. He's an icon. We have Shrika, Krang's ex-wife. She's fine. Actually, I kind of do actually like her. I do sort of like her, actually. Mostly because she's Krang's ex-wife, and I love the dynamic that it brings out from Shredder and Krang, where Krang's like, I didn't steal her ring, but he actually did. And was like, I just don't like her accusing me of stealing her ring. Here, Shredder, try it on. It's so funny. So I kind of like her simply because she brought out that scene, which is very fun. Tempestra. Again, she exists. She's fine. Don Tritelli. He's kind of fun, actually. I do sort of enjoy him I think he's more interesting than Pinky McFingers as a recurring character. I don't know why they suddenly changed Don Tritelli's design after his premiere episode, but I kind of like him. We have Zach. Zach exists. You know, I don't quite dislike him. Again, I don't really like kid characters, but Zach's alright in his first episode. He gets really annoying in later. I might move. No, I'm gonna leave him in neutral, because he's fine. He's alright in the first episode. They make him feel progressively younger, even though he's supposed to be 14, which is like a year. He's supposed to be a year younger than the Turtles. And it does not, he feels a decade younger than the Turtles. He's fine though. I don't hate him or anything. Next we've got the 90s characters. We have Danny. He exists. I, again, don't have opinions on him. He plays a big role in the first film and then never shows up again. He just exists. He doesn't really do anything, honestly. Kino, I actually don't like Kino. First of all, his first line is him fat-shaming a girl, which, okay. And then also, like, he just annoys me. Like, I don't hate him. I don't really have specific reasons to dislike him, but he irritates me. I don't like his existence. I do think the meta reason why he was created as a character is because, you know, he was one of the stuntmen in the Leo suit, and I think it was Leo, and they really liked him and made him a character, and I think that's super sweet, and I enjoy, like, that aspect of him, but as an actual character, I don't like him. He annoys me. We have, what's his name? Professor Perry. He's kind of like a Baxter Stockman stand-in. He exists. Yeah, he looks like 87 Stockman, honestly. And they were originally going to have Baxter Stockman in Secret of the Ooze, but then, like, there were some rights issues, I think, with TMNT 87, and they also wanted to incorporate Bebop and Rocksteady, but couldn't, so that's why Toka and Razar exist. Anyway, this is Tatsu. Tatsu. He's fine. Yeah, like, he shows up in 2012, but I didn't include him because he didn't feel significant enough. Tatsu's fine. He's definitely better than Shredder. He's more compelling than Shredder in the 90s films, but he exists. I don't have strong opinions on him. Mitsu, same thing. Kenshin, same thing. They exist. Walker, same thing. Like, a lot of the 90s characters, like, they just sort of exist. I don't have strong feelings on them. I think he's a somewhat compelling antagonist, and I do somewhat enjoy him in that regard. I think he's more compelling than Shredder, honestly, which might be a hot take. I don't know. Moving on to the next mutation original characters, there are actually quite a few that I really enjoy. Like, Simon Bonesteel, I sort of love him. He's very chaotic. We then have Dragon Lord. Do not have strong opinions on Dragon Lord. He exists. He's fine. Queez, sort of love Queez as well. He reminds me of Harold, if Harold was, like, you know, an antagonist. He does have Harold vibes, so that's sort of why I do love him as well. Silver, I think conceptually Silver is really cool, like, having this, like, you know, mobster gorilla man. I don't even remember why he exists. Was he a mutant? Did they give an explanation? I would not be surprised if they didn't. I sort of like Silver, though, so I'm gonna put him up here, in B tier. I think Vam Mi is her name. She's also, I put her here as sort of a stand-in for, like, all of the vampires, because, like, they had 4 episodes dedicated to them, but honestly did not have strong opinions on the vampires. They just sort of existed. Wick, high-key kind of an icon. I kind of like Wick. He is annoying at times, but I think he's also very fun. Also, the episode where he's Australian for some reason is kind of funny. It was kind of fun having an episode focused on Wick. He also said some unhinged shit, like he apparently likes eating underwear, like, okay, I guess. Moving on to 2003, there are quite a few of 2003 characters, many of which are fast forward. Some of these we're gonna speed through, like the Ninja Tribunal and stuff, but we have Nano. High key, love Nano. Nano's story's kind of tragic, but I do like how it kind of comes to, the way it's concluded is kind of nice. Speaking of Nano, we've got Nano's adoptive father, Harry Parker. who isn't really significant, but I think exploring, like, the concept, like, he does genuinely start caring about Nano in that episode beyond just, like, as a means of exploiting, so I do sort of like him, actually. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. I do actually like him as a character. It's kind of surprising. We have the Professor. Doesn't really... He shows up in a couple episodes. He's a chill dude. I like him as well. Silver Sentry. I like Silver Sentry because the way he, like, you know, is a role model for Mikey is very fun. And I think those dynamics are kind of fun and endearing, so I'm gonna put him in B tier. Next, we have Casey's mom. Icon. Honestly, I love her. I'm putting her in A tier. She's an icon. Her episode is very fun because she's technically the B plot of that episode with, you know, Splinter and Leo. Splinter and that whole episode is very fun because it's just Splinter and Leo, you know, trying to help April get along with, you know, the potential mother-in-law, and it's really sweet. And then the way she's just like, yeah, you gotta tell me about the giant rat and the turtle. And it's like, I guess she saw us, which is really funny. She's an icon. I do love Casey's mom. She's great. The ultimate ninja. He exists. Honestly, would put him in dislike because he kind of is annoying. He's not a super compelling antagonist, honestly. He just, like, really does not like Leo. He just has massive beef with Leo, and it's like, okay, get over it, guy. And then he gets turned into a child for some reason. I don't even remember what the logic was behind that, but anyway, the Daimyo exists. Do not have opinions on the Daimyo. We have Uncle Augie, also C tier. Yeah, like, most of these characters, again, are just gonna sort of be the lower half because they don't stand out, and are generally background characters. Oh, this is the Justice Force. Justice Force, I think I'm gonna also put in C tier. You know, they're alright. I do, like I said, I do like Silver Sentry, but, like, the Justice Force as a whole is fine. It's a fun outlet for Mikey and Mikey-centered episodes, which is fun, but we have Chaplin. Chaplin's fine. Yeah, also C tier. We've got Ancient One. He does feel kind of stereotypical, which I don't really like, but other than that, he's alright, so, you know, I'm gonna put him in C tier. I don't have any reason to dislike him. Then we have the Ninja Tribunal. I will say Hisomi. The only one in the Ninja Tribunal I like is Hisomi. He's kind of slay. Because he's kind of a bro. He's kind of a homie. The rest of the Ninja Tribunal are pretentious. These two especially, this guy and this guy. This guy, I don't really remember if he's pretentious like the other. I think he's at least more chill. I'm gonna put him in neutral. And the other two, I'm gonna put in dislike. I don't like... The Ninja Tribunal, they're just so pretentious. They're so pretentious, they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to stop Demon Shredder. Anyway, it's your problem now. I included the Acolytes kind of separately, but they're sort of all on the same level for me. I don't have opinions on them, really. They're kind of neutral. The main reason I included them as separate is because, like, in case anyone who looks at this template, like, has opinions and wants to differentiate them, you can. But to me, they're sort of all on par with each other. Next, we have all the fast forward girlies, which are, like, a big chunk, like, the vast majority of, you know, the original 2003 characters. Cody is so boring. Like, again, he's so boring that I'm tempted to put him in D tier, but I'm just gonna put him in C tier. He's so unbelievably boring. He's so generic, he's so boring, he exists. We have Darius Dunn, also kind of boring. Serling I do actually like, he's kind of fun. Especially, like, in Back to the Sewer. Like, the fact that he's in Back to the Sewer is so random, but I'm kind of here for it. Like, I do actually like Serling. He's sarcastic and snarky and fun. Starly, I'm gonna put her in B tier as well, because I think she reminds me a lot of Isabella from Phineas and Ferb, actually. She very much has Isabella energy. I don't want to put her next to Darius Dunn and Cody, because I think she's more interesting than them, but anyway. Viral exists. Shokunabo, I think that's his name. I honestly forgot he was the main antagonist of Fast Forward. Fucking hate Constable Biggles. This is the first 2003 character in the hate section. Yeah, he sucks. Torben Zix, my beloved. I love this man. When Torben Zix showed up in IDW, that was genuinely a joyous day. I was so excited about that. I love Torben Zix. He's that morally gray, you know, character that's just so fun. Jammerhead, don't have opinions on you. You exist. Triple Threat, I'm gonna put in dislike, because I found Triple Threat annoying. But, again, don't have strong opinions. Only had a couple of characters for the 2007 film. We have Winters, who high-key looks like 2013 Markiplier if he was buff. He exists. I don't know what else to say. He's kind of boring. I've talked about this, I've mentioned this in other videos before, but, like, I don't think anyone genuinely cares about the plot of 2007 beyond, like, the Raph and Leo stuff. Like, does anyone genuinely care about the 13 Monsters plot? In the Winters plot? I don't know if anyone does. It could have been replaced with literally anything, and, like, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, speaking of, we've got the Stone Generals. I think this is specifically Aguila that I included. They exist. Again, do not have opinions on them. Next, we're moving into IDW, who have quite a few of characters here. Did not include all of them, but we have Pepperoni, icon. She's so cute. I'm gonna put her up here in love, because she's just a cutie. We adore Pepperoni. Harold, S+. I fucking love Harold so much. I love this man with my entire being. He is an icon. His introductory issue with Donnie is one of my favorite issues of IDW. I love him so much. He's just a cranky old man. Like, I adore him. I love him so much. Hob, also going in S+. Hob is my favorite IDW character because, you know, he is a very, you know, morally gray character. I feel like he's the definition of chaotic neutral or even true neutral. He might just be true neutral. Like, he doesn't really side with good or bad. He just kind of goes with, like, what he wants to do, like, who he needs to form alliances with, and, like, his own personal, like, what's gonna work for him. But something I also really enjoy about him is that he kind of has dad vibes with, you know, the Weasels. Like, it's kind of possessive in a way, and it kind of sucks because you don't want the Weasels to go with him because we know Hob is a shady guy, but, like, he genuinely cares. You see, like, with the Mutanimals and, like, Pigeon Pete especially, and Slash especially, like, he genuinely has so much love for those people and cares about them. Actually, he might be lawful neutral because of, you know, his being like, the mutants will rise and humans are trash. Kind of Superfly-esque, but actually interesting. I do really like. I love Hobbs so much, and I want to see him adapted in another universe because he's so cool. I love him so much. Sally Pride, she's awesome. A tier? I don't know if I'm gonna put her in A tier. She's just super cool. I love her design. She's a badass. She's great. I love Sally Pride. She's fun. Herman, he's fine. He exists. I don't have strong opinions on him. Yeah, part of the Mighty Mutanimals. He's got a cool design, but don't have opinions on him really. Lindsay's in. I like her because I'm kind of fascinated by her because her motives confuse me. I'm like, what does she want? Like, and the fact that, like, she sticks with Hobbs sometimes, like, she's a very interesting character. So I'm gonna put Lindsay in B tier because she's very interesting. We've got Kara Lewis, the cop that sort of is reoccurring. I did not realize until I reread the first issue that she's the cop that Mikey meets in his micro series. Like, I didn't quite put that together. She's alright. I actually like her. She's sort of a background recurring character, but I do actually enjoy her quite a bit, and I think she's fun. We have Koya. Love Koya. Koya's just a ball of anger. And Koya's journey is pretty interesting, especially with, like, needing to connect to, like, more spiritual stuff, like with Bludgeon. Speaking of Bludgeon, love Bludgeon as well. I'm gonna put Bludgeon right next to Koya. Bludgeon's kind of... I chose this picture of Bludgeon because it's adorable. I love him just, like, happily sweeping, while Koya's like, this is bullshit! Karai, we can't live like this. We're suffering. And Karai's like, Bludgeon seems to be fine. I don't know what you're on about. It's kind of iconic. I love these two. They're very fun. And Bludgeon's relationship with Venus is also very interesting. So they're very cool. I like them a lot. Oh, we made it to the Pantheon. So the Pantheon generally I don't really have strong opinions on. Akka's pretty cool. Yeah, most of the Pantheon I'm just gonna dump in neutral. Manmyth is kind of cool. Jaguar, she's fine. Toad Baron's fine. I'm actually put Gathano, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but I'm gonna put him in B tier simply because I think it's Rat King goes to him for help at Armageddon game, and he's just like, no. And it's really funny. And Kitsune is pretty cool as well. I think Kitsune is an interesting character, especially like her arc kind of alongside Orkusaki. I don't remember, Ravenwood I think is her name. This lady, this mutant lady, that shows up for, I think, I don't remember if it's Bebop and Rocksteady. I think it's Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road. She's interesting. But honestly, I'm gonna put her in C tier. She's not interesting enough, honestly. We have Madame Null. She's also interesting, but I think I'm also gonna put her in C tier. She's alright. We have Zodi. I actually like Zodi a lot, especially the scene where she's fighting Raph and calls him Tomato, because she's like, you have themed names, right? Like a boy band. And she was so real for that, and I think that's very iconic. Krissa is like the companion to Zodi, but honestly, I'm gonna put her next to Null, because she doesn't stand out to me, really. Carmen, I think we haven't really seen much with her, but we know she's, like, important in some way. And she's pretty cool from what I've seen of her, so I'm actually gonna move her to B tier, because I think she's cool. Just don't have strong opinions on Carmen. Oh, these are the Weasels. I'm gonna put them in C tier. Again, I don't really like kid characters, and these kind of embody them. They've also been through a lot, so I do feel bad for them, but they don't stand out to me. Sheena is so cute. I'm putting her in A tier. I adore her. She's so cute. Also, she and Jennika are just adorable. I love them. Big reason why Sheena's so high, but she's also just really cool. I love her design. Jay I included because I do actually like Jay. I think Jay is kind of cool. Jay doesn't do much. Jay doesn't, like, contribute much to the main story or anything, but I think he's cool. And, like, he kind of gets roped into the band and stuff. Dr. Barlow, this piece of shit. He's a cool character, though. I don't want to put him in B tier because he sucks. But also, I'm going to put him in C tier because he is a piece of shit. But he is a compelling character, so I do sort of like him in that regard. But, you know, he also sucks. Sari, she's boring. She just sort of exists. She is trying to figure things out. Ace Duck, again, this is not the only version of Ace Duck, but this is the only version of Ace Duck that matters. I'm going to put him in B tier. He's cool. I really like him. Alright, we're now in the home stretch. We just have 2012, Rise, and then, like, a couple of Mutant Mayhem characters, and then this thing will be done. But next we have Razar / Dog Pound Bradford, from 2012. He's kind of, I really like his, design as Razar. I think he's very cool. But I don't really have strong opinions on him. I think I'm gonna put him in B tier, because I think he's a good, like, recurring character. But I don't really have strong opinions on Bradford. Chloe, is, you know, the little girl that Leo has tea with. Honestly, she's an icon. I'm also gonna put her in B tier. You know, she only shows up for, like, that one episode, and then as, like, I think a background character in a few other episodes, but she's adorable, and those moments with Leo are super wholesome and are really fun Leo moments as well. Chompy, S tier. Chompy is fucking adorable. Like, look at this face. He's so fucking cute. Look at him. Yeah, I adore Chompy. Fong, I believe, is this guy's name. He's like the main purple dragon guy. He exists. I don't have opinions on him, honestly. He's just sort of there. Ice Cream Kitty. I'm gonna put Ice Cream Kitty in A tier. I love Ice Cream Kitty's design. She's cute. She's fun. And a fun companion for Mikey. Her mutation is traumatizing as hell, but, you know, she's cute. Carvaxis, I don't really care about that episode arc anyway. It's kind of boring. Mira, I love Mira, from the, Mutant Apocalypse arc. She's so cool, and I adore the dynamic she has with Raph, because, like, I love a good dynamic. A cranky old man adopts, you know, sassy teenage girl. It's just, it's something, like, I surprisingly have not, I think it's Last of Us that has that. I've not, watched or played Last of Us, but I know it also has that dynamic, and that's kind of, I think, the iconic, like, pinnacle dynamic of that, but there's a lot of other examples, and this is one that I really, really enjoy. Murakami, I believe is his name. He's alright, I like him. I don't have strong opinions on him, but he's fun. I enjoy him. He's a chill dude. Got the Neutralizer, very cool design. I really like Neutralizer's design. His voice annoys me, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in C tier. He's alright. He's fine. Kirby O'Neill. He's fine. He exists. Also C tier. He's just a dad, you know? Rockwell. I like Rockwell. He's fun. I mean, Psychic Monkey. Who doesn't love a, a Psychic Monkey? Very kind of random, but fun, you know? Is a good example of what I love about 2012, how it takes, you know, it recycles a lot of old TMNT concepts, but also introduces new stuff, which is very fun. Shinigami, love her. She's so cool. One of the best original characters from 2012. Like, she's awesome. She and Karai are adorable, too. Like, I love her, and she and Karai have such a cute relationship. Like, I think they're canonically dating, I'm not 1000% sure, but, like, they're so cute. Tiger Claw is also S tier. He's super cool. I said S tier? Yeah, S tier. Which I think I'm also gonna move Shinny to S tier. Because she's just so cool. Like, she's a witch. Hello? That's so cool. And Tiger Claw's so freaking cool as well. He's an iconic character. Zever Fishface is also very cool. I'm gonna put him in B tier because I do like him. I'll put him next to Bradford because they're always sort of associated with each other. They're good recurring villains and antagonists to have. Moving on to the Rise characters. Got quite a few because Rise is doesn't recycle really characters from previous TMNT much. So they've got a lot more original characters. We got Mayhem, the cutie. I'm gonna put him in A tier. He's adorable. We've got Sunita. She's adorable. I really like she and April are adorable as well. I'll put her next to Karai because I do really like her. I'm not obsessed with Sunita, but she's great. She serves her purpose. I really like her. Sheldon, icon, voiced by 2012 Mikey, which is iconic. Yeah, I really like Sheldon. I love him. He's great. And we have Alberto, everyone's favorite FNAF character. Alberto's fine. I think I'm gonna put him in C tier. No, but that would put him by Casey and Stockboy, and honestly, he's better than Casey and Stockboy, so I'm gonna put him in B tier. I do enjoy Alberto to some degree. Bullhop I would put in C tier. He's alright. His design's cool. Otherwise, don't have strong opinions on him. I like Big Mama a lot. I don't think I'd quite put her in A tier, but I do really like Big Mama. She's fun. Baron Draxim, fucking S tier. I love this man. He is so iconic. He's so cool. First of all, love a good redemption arc. Second of all, he's just a fun character. I love his dynamic with Splinter. All around, I love this man. I love Baron Draxim so much. Hugin and Munin, I always pronounce their names wrong. Apparently they're based on, I think, Norse gods, because my sister was reading, like, a book about Norse mythology, and I was like, hold on, I know those names, give me a second. They're fun, I actually really like them. I'm gonna put them in A tier, they're iconic. They're very fun. The Goyles is, like, a them episode, but it's also a plot episode, and that's what I really love about it, is because it highlights them being, like, just silly little guys, as well as gives us, like, big backstory plot stuff, which is very fun. So that's a great episode. One of my favorite episodes, honestly. Warren and Hypno I kind of grouped together because, they're a unit. They're in love. They're fun. I love them. They're great. They're going A tier. They're going A tier. They are iconic. Such a fun dynamic with them. I adore them. Meat Sweats, he's fine. He's our Gordon Ramsay. Like, they just were like, what if we made Gordon Ramsay a mutant? And that's so iconic of them. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. I do really like him. Repo Mantis, also really like him. A lot of the Rise antagonists I just generally like. I don't have strong opinions on them. The Sando brothers, I believe, are their names. I don't have strong opinions on them. They just sort of exist to me. Like, of the Rise antagonists, they're kind of boring to me. I don't really have opinions on them. Todd is an icon. I'm also gonna put him in B tier because I like him. I like him a lot. Ghost Bear, I have mixed feelings on, partially because he's very stereotypical. What makes it, I think, better is I believe he is based on a real, like, luchador person. I'm not 100% sure. But I think, like, it is intended to be a loving homage to, like, luchador culture. So it makes me less annoyed at it, but it still is very stereotypical, which I don't love. I do really, really like his mutant design, though. I'm going to put him in C tier. His mutant design is very, very cool. Then we have the Foot Brute and Foot Lieutenant. They're fine. I like them. Like, I don't have strong opinions on them. Obviously, Rob Paulson is an icon, but I don't really have strong opinions on them. They're just sort of there. They're there for the vibes. They're good. They're good like good recurring villains, but don't stand out to me. Senor Hueso is fucking S tier. I love this man so much. He is an icon. Like, I don't know how anyone could see Senor Hueso and not like him. Like, he's just such a phenomenal character. I adore him, and his, like, you know, kind of uncle relationship with Leo is very fun, you know, being that, like, and that he calls him Pepino is iconic. Like, I love Senor Hueso so much. He's such an icon. Piel, Capitan Piel, I just included him because, you know, he's tied to Hueso, and I think it appears just as often. Not as often, but, like, the 2 Hueso-centered episodes also have Piel in it. He's fine. His design is kind of gross, but that's sort of intentional. I like him. He's fine. Hueso is the star of the show. I should have included Don Suave as a separate character, because Don Suave is, you know, S+. Everyone loves Don Suave. Jupiter Jim / Marcus Moncrief, I believe is his name. He shows up for a couple episodes. They're not particularly memorable episodes, in my opinion, but he's kind of fun. I do sort of like him. Yeah, I'll put him up there. I included Mrs. Cuddles, even though she's not really an important character at all. She's alright. I just thought it'd be funny to include her. I included the Mud Dogs, who are essentially just cameos for 2012. Very fun. Yeah, this is basically just me saying this cameo is iconic, so they're going in A tier, because I just love, and their designs are super fun. Yeah, I just love the Mud Dogs, like, being a fun little 2012 cameo reference. And we're at the final 2 characters, because again, these are all, like, Mirage and Archie characters that I am not going to be covering today. And Usagi Yojimbo, because he's the one that crosses over with Mirage, and has crossed over with IDW. Maybe I will then include him, because I did sort of read some of... I'm putting him in S tier. Sorry to go on a tangent, but because he has appeared in IDW, and, you know, I know he does cross over with Mirage, and I have read some of Usagi Yojimbo, and I do sort of actually adore him from what I have seen of him, so I am going to include him. Anyway, sorry to go off on a tangent about Usagi, but we've got Cynthia Utrom. I don't, like, one of my issues with the Mutant Mayhem movie is the pacing and, like, the inclusion of TCRI feels kind of off, and that is because of, there were, like, sort of last-minute rewrites. Again, Baxter Stockman was supposed to be sort of, like, the main antagonist and stuff. And TCRI would have probably played, I would expect would have played, like, a bigger role. But she's kind of cool. I'm still gonna put her no, I'll put her in B tier, because I do like her. I think she's interesting. I just sort of wish they did more. Superfly is very cool. I do really enjoy it. I think Superfly is awesome. I'm gonna put him in A tier. I do sort of love his design. His design is great, and I think he serves as a really interesting story beat for Splinter, which I really enjoy. But yeah, that's actually we're done with the tier list now, which is so exciting. This was an undertaking. I knew this was gonna take a while. I had no idea how long filming would take, but right now I'm at like 2.5 hours, so I don't know how. I think editing this might be a bitch, but we will see.
Here is the final tier list. This took quite a bit of time to put together, but it was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed following along. If you did not fill out the tier list with me, once again, it is linked in the description. If you go to the tier list template as well, you can find my final ranking under the community rank tab, and there you can see other people's rankings as well.
A while ago, I did some videos on my TikTok where I went through, like, each of the on-screen versions of a bunch of the characters, sort of the ones that were at the start of this video, and, like, ranked them, like, from least to most favorite. I might do that again, for YouTube proper, because, yeah, I don't know, it'd be nice to kind of share those thoughts again, and I might even dive in and be a little more even detailed on some of those. But yeah, thank you for watching. This was a fun little experiment, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did follow along and you want to show me, go ahead and tag me. If you share it on anywhere, just let me know, because I'd love to see y'all's opinions and y'all's rankings of some of these characters, because, again, there are a lot. So it's bound to that we will have some differing opinions at some point. But if I do another tier list, it will not be as long as this one, because
There are a lot of characters here. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for more TMNT content, as always. See ya.